Awaken Hardest podcast with John White.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Awaken Hardest podcast. I am John White, the Awaken Hardest. I'm redoing an episode that I did about a week and a half ago. I wanted to add a couple things to it. So this episode is going to be on diet, and the last episode I talked about focusing on trying to, discover yourself, know who you are. It was one of the most important things when it comes to mental health. You need to know exactly who you are first before you can pursue the things in life that are that make you happy. In this episode, this is one of the three pillars I talked about 2 episodes ago. This is the diet one, and we'll have the movement and community will be the other one at some point in time here. But this episode I did, like I said, about a week and a half ago, and the day after I did it, with it being about diet, of course, I got sick. I have not been sick up until that point, literally 2 years, exactly 2 years. January of 2022 was the last time I even had a single cold. I'm bragging a little bit, yes, because I'm proud of all of the things in the work I do as far as my diet goes and taking care of myself, that I didn't get sick during that time period. I was pretty shocked. I have a couple things I'm going to go over here that really were the basis of what I believe help prevent me from getting sick. And I'm very, very excited that it lasted as long as it did. I thought that I was going to make it through another winter without getting sick again. And it just kind of made me realize I wasn't bulletproof. And no matter what you do, it's going to happen. You're going to get sick. You're going to pick up a virus from somebody. And I think in my situation, I had some kind of sinus infection. A lot of what I'm going to say in this episode, you probably already know. You've probably already heard it 100 times. But what I have done specifically, I think a lot of people can take in their own situation and use this as an outline for what you can replace. You can replace certain things with things that make sense towards your body, but primarily everything that I'm going to talk about has attributed to me not getting sick, for one, but it attributes to my mental health and my mental and emotional health. I keep on saying mental health, but what I really mean is both mental and emotional. I kind of have just realized that emotional health is a little bit different than mental health. And some reason I lump them together. And now I just want to be a little clear on that. So when it comes to the diet and what you're putting into your body, what does that mean, and how does it translate over to your mental and emotional health? And I'm just going to say mental health because it's just easier that way. What you're putting in your body is largely, it is your energy supply. First of all, how much energy you have throughout the day. And if you don't have any energy and you're sitting around and you don't have the juice to be able to do what you need to do, that's going to bring a lot of depression into your life. And I apologize for the dog barking outside, but she is probably going to be barking throughout this podcast. It's decently nice out today, and that means squirrels. So, mental clarity and focus is the other big thing when it comes to diet. When I eat healthy, I am a lot more focused, and I'm able to think clear. And then as far as the immunity, like I talked about earlier, that's the other thing when it comes to your diet, and being able to have a strong immune system prevents you from getting sick. And I'm telling you, I still coming out of a little bit of a fog. I still have a little bit of something going on in my sinuses. I can still feel. It's been a week and a half, like I said, but the other benefit of having, I guess I'm not really kind of trailing off a little bit here, but as far as the other benefit of the diet and all of the things I'm about to talk about that I do for my diet, that largely helped me recover a lot faster. I probably was only actually sick from Sunday of last week until Saturday. So about a week, but it like peaked around Wednesday, and then I started to get better Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then on. So and it was probably pretty much back to myself by Sunday. But I don't fuck around. I do teas, but we'll get into all that. Let me start with when I was at my lowest and my most unhealthy, what I used to eat, what I used to put in my body, a mixture of, alcohol and pop, soda, all fruit juices with a lot of sugar in them. And then as far as the foods, though, frozen pizzas, fast food. What else am I missing here? Oh, everything with so much processed foods and so much preservatives that I ate. Just easy, convenient stuff for someone, a bachelor who didn't want to cook, someone who actually, when my kids were little, they're 13 and 14 now, and when they were, the first 6-7 years of their life, I wasn't eating it exactly healthy, and I was just eating stuff that was just conveniently easy and fast to make because I had two boys that were like twins, basically, or Irish twins. So I needed to have the energy to take care of them. And I wasn't exactly healthy, so it kind of was contradicting itself, not being able to put the proper food in me. It only gave me a certain amount of energy to take care of them anyways, and it would run out very fast, and I learned that later on. But yeah, all these terrible things that I ate, that was a big part of the most unhealthiest part of my life. There's 3 things that kind of were very important to all of this change from where I was to where I am now. I've always been a water drinker, but I don't drink, like I said, I don't drink pop, soda, fruit juices, or anything like any of those things anymore. I find a way I used to think that the fruit juice, well, my mom thought at the same time, I thought that was the only way to get certain vitamins, like vitamin C. You get like a big thing of orange juice or some Minute Maid or something like that, and that's the only way you get vitamin C in you. So all of that sugar, I was terrible. But now I only drink water. I do drink alcohol still, but that's like a once a week type of thing if I do. So, but water is the only thing I pretty much drink. Besides tea, I take that back. Forget about tea. Tea's become a big part of my life, as I just said a little bit ago. But the other things, I quit smoking in 2019. That was gigantic. I was a smoker for about 25 years. And I knocked that out of my life. And then from there, which I make that sound like it's a small feat, but it was gigantic at the time. I can't tell you how much that changed my life and how I feel so much better now that I don't smoke. It used to just deplete all of my energy and make me feel like shit. And I'm talking before, when I said earlier I didn't get sick for 2 years, like not even a cold, I was averaging at least getting sick 2 to 3 times a year, at least, here in Northwest Ohio. And then that changed. The other thing was, I'm kind of bouncing around here pretty quickly, but the other thing, water, and then the smoking. And then I started gardening when my kids were little. The first time I'd ever moved into a house, honestly, was like when I was in my 30s. The first time I ever got my own place was when my second son was born, right, a little bit shortly thereafter. And that's one of the first times I got to start gardening, and I started learning how to garden. As time went on, that gardening became a big part of my diet and learning, how that all plays, how it all played into it exactly it was basically, I honestly can't tell you what it did for me at the time when I started. Like, I just intuitively wanted to start gardening. It's something I've always really I've enjoyed, but it did start to fall into, the more I learned about the vegetables that I was growing and all the things that I was growing, I learned all the vitamins and things that they provided, and it started piquing my curiosity. Like, I feel like shit today. Why wouldn't I just try eating more of this? And how do I get more of this in my diet? So I started at one point in time, at the beginning of all of this, changing my diet around. I started having these cravings for I would go to the grocery store, and I would go to the salad buffet every time instantly, just to make a big old giant salad with everything I could find in it. I would crave it all the time. I started craving eating fresh food, anything fresh. I started realizing fresh was important to me. Then it came to processed foods. Processed foods and preservatives were two things I started learning more about, and those two big things became slowly. I slowly exited them. That's the wrong way to say it. I slowly removed them from my diet, and in all honesty, I almost forgot about the biggest one: fast food. Fast food was another one that I needed to exit out of my life quickly. That one, every time I eat fast food, then, and I don't anymore, but when I did, I would instantly feel terrible for like the next hour or two. And now that I don't eat it anymore, I know that's exactly what it is, because there's every once in a while, I don't know, it's been like 6 months probably since I've had any kind of fast food, maybe Subway. But like the burgers and stuff, I would stop and grab a burger when I'm on the run and doing things back and forth from work. And man, I would instantly feel it in my guts, and it would hurt, and I would be feeling it for the next couple hours. Just sluggish, not feeling good, not feeling my normal energy levels. It was like I just did a line of sugar. It's like just like a quick sugar boost, and then it would just deplete it out, no more energy after that. So fast food was a really big one to remove from my life. And then it turned into experimenting with foods, primarily with like meat, chicken, pork, beef, going like a week or two with just chicken, just beef, just pork, seeing exactly what they did and how they interact with my body and how I felt immediately after and the day after, what it did to my energy, what it did to just my overall well-being and feeling. Those were big ones. That was a big one to kind of play around with and see. And then it came to healthy carbs. Healthy carbs was a big one because I have a super high metabolism, and carbs are very important to me. Having a consistent dose of carbs, that like healthy carbs, meaning sustainable sugars. I can't have, when my sugar is really low, I crave chocolate instantly, and obviously that's just for that quick sugar boost. But when I'm at my best and I don't have these crashes, I'm not diabetic or anything, and I've gotten blood sugar work done. But as far as the those carbs go, I've really learned that's important. And actually, my son somehow hereditarily inherited it from me. That, and then dairy was the other thing. Dairy was the other thing I needed to play around with and see if it's important to me, if I need it in my life. And I learned a lot about myself just from experiments. All this is like a big experiment. You're kind of just taking things in and taking things out and seeing how your body interacts to it. Everybody's different, and our bodies interact with the things that we put into them differently. So yeah, it's like a big experiment for you. Then I started to incorporate herbs in my garden. And this was because seasonings, using the herbs for seasonings and for my salads. And if you follow me on Instagram, speaking of my salads, I post a lot in my stories of my salad prep. I do 4 or 5 big salads every couple days. I have a salad almost every day, and I jam pack it full. I switch up all my lettuces and my salads. Just as a heads up, it's a little over the top what I do with my salads. I primarily have cucumber, mushroom, onion, garlic, and some olive oil. I put some seasonings in there, radishes, sometimes some peppers, and what else do I do? I like a lot of some feta cheese in there, diced up ham, and then I have some tinctures that I'm about to talk about right now. As far as the herbs go, the herb garden, how the inspiration was tinctures, teas, and seasonings for that. And the tinctures that I use, I've made quite a bit, but two of them I put in my salad. I have like a garlic and basil tincture that I put in there just to add some anti-inflammatory values and some antiviral. And then I have this burdock root, this burdock plant that grows in my backyard wild. It's just on the property. You pull up the root and then you chop it up and you put it into a high alcohol base and then you let it sit. And I also have a apple cider vinegar one I'm getting ready to try here as well. But that's a liver tonic just to help keep your liver cleansed. And I do a couple big drops of that in my salad as well and then mix it up in whatever my salad dressing of choice is. But growing all these herbs, and I do oregano, sage, thyme, lavender, cilantro, parsley, and I have, I'm trying to think of what else I'm missing. I have like chamomile, a lot of different things, St. John's wort, and calendula, a lot of different things that I use for my home remedy stuff. The teas I've been able to make my own and kind of mess around with. And I don't grow turmeric and I don't grow ginger. We'll work on that at some point in time and adding that in there. But I buy the store-bought ginger and turmeric root, and then I chop it up and I dehydrate it, and then I have it stored. So I make like a tablespoon of each one of those into a 3-cup tea kettle and make some tea from that. That is super good for the guts and inflammation in the body. So I try to do a couple glasses of that a week just to throw in and try to knock down some of that inflammation. But again, I don't eat processed foods a lot, but we all know that there's ways to get inflammation in your body without just processed foods. So that's happening all the time. I'm always just trying to kind of cut that down. And with cancer being in my genes, if that's even something, I don't know if that's even something anymore. I wonder if it's just all the processed foods, and that's a podcast for a different time. But yeah, I've always had a little bit of a worry when it comes to the cancer thing in the family because I've lost a lot of family members to cancer. So just being preventative when it comes to the turmeric and the garlic there, or the ginger. So yeah, then the other big thing is this is the game changer, I think, more than anything, is when I got sick in January of 2022. That summer, I dedicated really trying to figure out what I needed to put in my garden, vitamin-wise, that I wasn't getting normally. And I like to make lists. I made a list of all of the foods that I ate and the vitamins that came along with them. And then I kind of looked through the vitamins, said, okay, what vitamins am I missing if I'm not getting enough of something, and tried to find a way to either add it to my diet through eating, to the food I eat, or through what I drink. So fire cider came along. I found a recipe for making a fire cider, which fire cider is something, it's a apple cider vinegar base. And what it does is you take a bunch of, you're supposed to take about at least 5-6 ingredients: garlic, horseradish root, onion, and what is the other main one they want you to put in there? Garlic, horseradish root, onion, turmeric, ginger, things like that. But I added I made like 15 ingredients in it. And what it does is it's all those ingredients sit in a 64-ounce jar. I think they're 64-ounce mason jars, and they sit under a towel for at least a month. And then I flip them up and down every once in a while just to kind of shake everything up. And then you strain all of it out, and you have a cider. And one of the bigger things is you want to add some spice to it. But I don't add too much spice because of, again, my high metabolism. The spicier foods will boost up your metabolism. So I try to stay away from that because I'm already kind of fast enough metabolism where I need to eat every couple hours anyways. So yeah, the fire cider though, I started that and I started drinking it in November of 2022, right when flu season started. I had it all ready to go. And I never got sick. I do like a tablespoon, like a shot of it every 2 days in prevention. And then when I get sick, I'm drinking, sips of it throughout the day, just to kind of, what it does is it's replenishing all of those. When you're sick, you're losing all of your gut flora and all of that. And you're kind of losing all of the good stuff that you need, and it's replenishing it quickly to help your body fight off whatever it is fighting off. So that was a big one. And having said all of this, I'm not perfect. I still eat chips. I still, like I said, drink alcohol. I do use a vape from time to time. So I'm not perfect. I do fall back on some of the things. I definitely do not, like I said, I don't mess around with fast food. That's just like a big one for me. So that is where my advice begins. Fast food, cut that out. First thing you can cut out, try to cut out fast food. It's the worst, as far as I'm concerned. And then the next thing after that is the processed foods and the preservatives. Do everything you can to start eating things fresh. I know it's expensive. That's another big part of living a healthy life and eating healthy. It's super fucking expensive, man. Everything is super expensive now, but for some reason to eat healthy, and a lot of it has to do with the shipping costs and trying to get things from one place to another fresh, and also the amount of people that are actually growing things out there. Stop, trying to eat all of the shit that comes like boxed, and food is not meant to go in our body that it can sit around and has a shelf life. Everything that in our DNA and throughout our history as human beings, all of our DNA says eat things fresh when it comes to fresh meat and it comes to fresh vegetables and everything. Sure, there was preservatives, but they were using natural preservatives like salt, natural preservatives like salt and things like that way back, thousands and thousands of years ago. But that's what you really want to focus on doing, is trying to eliminate things that you know are not good for your body. You start wherever the fuck you want to start at, but that's the most important thing, is eliminating those things that are bad. Eventually your body will start to reject the things that you once liked. Like if I sit down and start to eat chips, like Doritos or something, my body is not happy instantly. And it really takes me, I almost like have to get out of, I forgot what Doritos do to me. And it's like a month or two and I haven't had Doritos, and I'm like, you know what sounds really good is some fucking Doritos. And then it's like an old addiction calling me back. I sit down and eat those Doritos and I'm like, fuck this, never again. I feel like shit. And the more you do that, the more times that happens, the more it starts to change your brain and what your brain thinks it wants and what it needs. And then your body as well is probably screaming, we don't want this, but we listen to more of what our brain and those little guilty pleasures that we have when it comes to food. So overall, change whatever right off the get right now makes you feel like shit. Get that out of your life. And I know that dieting is super intimidating to a lot of people, but start off small. It doesn't have to be cold turkey. You don't have to quit cold turkey. You can quit warm turkey, whatever the fuck that means. But yeah, do it gradually. Do a little gradual thing. Start a little bit every day, trying to figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense for your body. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this episode. So I wanted to thank you for tuning into another episode of the Awakened Artist podcast. I really appreciate you. If you could, I don't know if it's down here. I think it's down here. I don't know how. Somewhere down here. It'll be somewhere down here. Like, follow, subscribe. Make sure you check out my new, if you're on my old Instagram page, my old Instagram page is turned into my personal Instagram page, which everybody's more than welcome to follow, the Awakened Artist, or at Awakened Artist. And then I have at Awakened Artist _podcast is my other one. But if you don't, eventually I'm going to end up taking the podcast off of Spotify and some of the other platforms, and I probably will put it back up. But if you can't find me, I will always be on YouTube. I just had some issues with the hosting platform that I go through that, yeah, I get another time. But if you can't find me, you can always find me on YouTube. So I appreciate you. Thanks again. Please, again, like, follow, subscribe, comment, and send me some message. Let me know what you think. Bye. If you'd like to learn more about me and my experiences, follow at Awakened Artist on Instagram or visit the website awakenedheartist.com.